time. Hmm?
They like to talk.
Yes, they do.
Sounds a good idea.
Yeah, Tim did that last week, and I thought so too. Hello. Do you think it's time? All right. Hmm?
They like to talk.
Yeah, Tim did that last week. I thought I was doing this better. I thought I was doing this better. I thought I was doing this better.
We're going to try that again. Our story today will be told in two parts. It begins during the time in the land of the Buddha, where they say that hard times will be told in two parts. It begins during the time. It's so good, you want to hear it twice. Should we try again? All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to trust that they figure it out. So once again, our story today will be told in two parts. It begins in the land of the Buddha, where they say that hard times harden and starve a person's spirit as much as their body. And so it was during this time when the Buddha still lived and famine struck the land. The rains failed and the sun's heat withered and dried the crops. So all around, sounds of pain and hunger could be heard. During this time of misery, people became greedy and selfish. The Buddha's followers came to him with the stories they had heard. One follower said, "I heard that one merchant stabbed another, all over a bag of grain." The second follower said, "I heard of a man who sold his last goat to buy a bag of flour, and then on his way home he was attacked, and his flour was stolen." "Worst of all," said the third follower, "are the stories of children who are dying of hunger on the poor side of town, all because the wealthy have hoarded all the grain and the sugar and the milk." "Call my people together," said the Buddha. "Let's see what we can do." And so everybody was called, and everybody came. The young, the old, the wealthy, the poor, the hungry, the well-fed, they all came in support of the Buddha. "Citizens of this fair land," said the Buddha, "surely there is enough food in the storehouses of the wealthy to feed everyone. If the rich share what they have, then we will all make it to the next good harvest." The poor and the hungry were hopeful at these words, but the rich people grumbled. "My granary is empty," lied one. "The poor are just lazy," said another. "They can come work for me and with their money buy the food in my storehouse." "There are too many poor people," said another. They should just go somewhere else. The Buddha sighed upon hearing these words and looking at the hard hearts of the people in the crowd. Is there no one, he asked, who will take on the job of helping the poor and the hungry during these hard times? The crowd was silent. And that is where we will leave our story for now.
As I was looking through the UUA website, looking for homilies on hunger, I came across this resolution it's a general resolution on ending hunger written in 1987. Because we believe in a community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And because we respect the interdependent web of life, of all existence, of which we are a part. And because we recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and that each person, as a birthright, should have enough to eat. 1987, guys. Whereas millions of people throughout the world go hungry and even starve to death in an age of unparalleled technological achievement, and whereas massive amounts of food are annually wasted, destroyed, or never delivered to those who are malnourished or starving through the failures of governments, distribution, transportation, or misapplied or deficient market mechanisms. Whereas eliminating hunger and starvation may be realized by utilizing already existing technology and resources with more efficient food production, concentrated in areas where the need is the greatest, by redistribution of food from areas of surplus to areas of shortage, and by balancing population with the Earth's resources. And whereas a massive mobilization of peoples and governments in both needy and affluent countries is vital for the ending of hunger, which must be a major priority for all humanity. And that to achieve this goal, governmental and economic systems and policies should be modified to make optimal use of the world's food. Therefore, be it resolved that the 1987 General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association acknowledges the ending of world hunger as an achievable goal, and be it further resolved that Unitarian Universalists work with organizations on local, state, provincial, national, and international levels toward the establishment of programs that hasten the elimination of hunger in both the short and the long term, and to develop and promote worldwide nutritional self-sufficiency for all people. Be it finally resolved that Unitarian Universalists lobby for financial support from government and private sectors and encourage the involvement of business and industry in implementing such programs. 1987.
I got the hymn wrong, but that's also one of my favorites. So, at any rate, this is a time in our service where we share our joys and sorrows. We use the stones to represent our joys and sorrows. The water represents the love of community. And we drop a stone to seek the softening of our sorrows or the amplification of our joys. So all the individual joys and sorrows come together in one bowl so they can symbolically be shared and borne by us as a collective community. So we invite you now to come forward along the side aisles and then return to your seats in the middle to amplify your joy or soften your sorrows. Here in my hand is a small representation of all the joys and sorrows mixed in our waters. We have one written sorrow and concern to share. Debbie Davidson in the back reminds us, or tells us that her son and his girlfriend are recovering from COVID. So we wish them a speedy recovery. We have many members who would like to get to know us. I'm sorry. I'm going to add a stone. Of course, the big event this week was Hurricane Ian, and we know there have been many lives lost, so much destruction of property, people's lives just evaporated into the wind, people left with nothing. So we hold the people in Florida who've been deeply, deeply affected by Hurricane Ian. We hold them in our hearts. On a happier note, the flowers this morning are from Mary Mark, who celebrates the wonderful, as we all do, the wonderful colors of fall. So we're going to continue with a prayer, which is a poem by Reverend Elizabeth Bukey. A world of beauty and love is coming. Spirit of life, which holds us, we gather in reverence and thanks for you. We're grateful for the gift of another breath and for each moment of connection, beauty, and truth. Cry with us in our pain for our world. Remind us that we are loved just as we are. Remind us that we are connected to all that is. Remind us that we do not journey alone. Give us what we need for today. Call us back to our promises, commitments, and values. Help us love ourselves and each other and to show that love in our actions. Make us instruments of justice, equity, and compassion. Free us from all that is evil. We declare that life and love are stronger than tyranny and fear, that a world of beauty and love is coming, and we must shape it together. May it be so. Amen.
Yeah. I'd like to introduce Richard Foster. Richard is the director of the food pantry that we have many members here who volunteer at. And as the director, you think he was just an executive who makes decisions, but I have to tell you, the pantry would not run without him. He and Doug Jones make pickups of food 4 and 5 days a week and keep the place running. And in his spare time, not too long ago, he was the head deacon at their church. So he keeps busy.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning to all of you. I've always said we are joined together, the hips are joined together with the work that you do for us. I count this as a privilege to tell you that because of your generous donations, the years we feed many families in not only Cincinnati, in the tri-state area. This year alone, in the first quarter, we fed 3,695 people. Because of you, give yourself a clap. The following quarter's numbers are high also. This could not be possible without you. Please continue to help support the pantry. And I would like to add that we talk about what you do for the pantry, and I want to say that Tom is a plus. And through Tom, we get a lot of volunteers and so forth. So we appreciate everything that you do. Thank you.
I'm good to go. Today I'd like to talk to you about the work that many of us here do at the food pantry. And I personally found my decision to volunteer there in the concept of existentialism, which as a chemical engineer was something that was fairly foreign to me. But it talks about creating purpose or meaning in our own lives. And to me, this meaning has taken on almost a spiritual connotation. One way I chose to do this was by forming a covenant. And a covenant defined as the active process of establishing relationships of respect and mutuality with our clients. It's the goal of the pantry to serve the clients following our first principle of believing in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And I and the other volunteers and members of the food pantry try and do this with every interaction we have with our clients. Also, many of us, at one point or another, had heard about the concept of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that tells us that until their basic needs are met for food, shelter, and other essentials, individuals have very little energy to work and do things to improve their own situation. To me, what that says is we do more than provide food to people. We provide them the opportunity to free themselves up to pursue a better life and make things better in the future. We have a number of videos, short interviews of people I talked to last week at the pantry about why it's important to them and what it means in their life. So Chris will play those for us now.
It's maintaining nourishment for my family.
Terrific.
I'm on a fixed income. I'm working mom, disabled, so this is a great help to feed my family.
It actually means a lot. I was recently homeless. I have an apartment now. I don't have my food card activated. This helps to fill in the blanks. I feel blessed.
Coming to the pantry means a lot to me and the community. They're here to help those that's in need, don't have family members. I guess that's about it.
All right, well, coming to the pantry is a big help, especially with the economy the way it is. I've noticed prices are so much higher and just on a limited income, so it's a huge help. And this pantry is exceptionally polite and friendly as well. So I really appreciate all the help you guys are giving me.
I'm really touched by having those short interviews with those folks. It just brought home again what a personal impact we're having. Over the years, we've become full pantry partners. We do this by volunteering and by conducting this special plate collection each October. Some of your contributions are put to use very quickly for a special distribution we do for Thanksgiving. So it'll be used to buy Thanksgiving foods for our distribution in November. Combined with the community rewards program that Kroger has, which we helped establish for the pantry's benefit, and other individual contributions that some of our members make during the year, we provide somewhere between 25 and 30% of the total pantry's budget for the last several years. In addition, 10 of our congregants are currently fairly regular volunteers, and over the years, many others have volunteered as well. And I do see quite a number of you here today, so if you feel willing and able, I'd like you to stand and be recognized by your other congregant members. Now I'd like to give you a short update on the pantry operations. Today, getting food for clients is getting harder. Some other pantries are ceasing operations. And in the face of this, we're getting about 50 new families applying for help every month. And that's been going on month after month. We too are having difficulty getting food. Next month, we're reducing our pantry operations from 6 days a month to 4. The other thing we do differently than other pantries, many of them, and most I should say, limit their clients to coming for food once a month. Folks at our pantry can come anytime we're opened. If you've never visited the pantry, let me tell you how large an operation is. Last year we distributed over 250,000 pounds of food. Just think about that, 250,000 pounds of food. That's enough food for something well in excess of 150,000 meals for people in the community. Richard mentioned it, we have about 1,350 households registered at the pantry to come for food. And amongst them, there's somewhere around 3,500 individual family members, children, elderly, disabled, and people just, as you've heard, on a fixed income. To maintain that level of aid, we need to buy more food because, as I mentioned, the amount of food that's being donated to us is shrinking. And the Free Store Food Bank is a great source for a lot of our food, but not all of it is free. They're a fairly significant operation and need some operational income as well, so we need to buy some of it. They serve over 550 pantries in Southwest Ohio and some in nearby Indiana as well. So in the face of the increasing need, I hope you can open your hearts and wallets and make a generous donation to this morning's special plate collection. Thanks for listening.
Please rise as you're willing and able and join in singing this wonderful hymn, For All That Is Our Life.
It's time to return now to our story. Back in the land of the Buddha, during a time of hunger and hard hearts. "Is there no one here?" asked the Buddha. who will take on the job of helping the poor and the hungry during these hard times. The gathering was silent, but only for a moment. "I will, Lord Buddha," shouted a small voice from the back. Then moments later, out stepped a young child, no more than 6 or 7 years old, a merchant's child dressed in fine silk. "My name is Sabraya," she said, "and I have a bowl which I can fill with food for the hungry." The Buddha smiled. "Child," he said, "your heart is filled with so much love, but how will you do this alone?" "I won't be alone," she said. "I'll have everyone's help. I will take my bowl and I will go door to door to door on the rich side of town asking for food, and I will not be turned away. I know it." Hearing these words and gazing upon the earnest face of the young child, even the most selfish in the crowd began to feel ashamed. I guess I have some food left in my granary," said one. "I have some pickled mango from the summer's harvest," said another. "My father used to be poor," said a third. "I'm ashamed that I have forgotten." And Sabraya, she did just as she said she would. She took her bowl and she went door to door to door, filling it with food for the hungry. Sometimes a grandmother would fill her bowl up in one go with rice. Sometimes children would give up their only sweets for the day. Oftentimes, other people joined her, carrying their own bowls and filling it up with food for the hungry as well. And sometimes, when Sabraya was tired of walking and her feet ached, she would take refuge under the old banyan tree and have a nap. And when she awoke, she found that her bowl had been magically filled. "Now," she said, "no one will go hungry, and the people of this town will take care of each other." And so it was, and so may it always be.
And now it's time for our offering. Your donation today will help support the work of Shiloh Food Pantry. Giving is easy. You can text the word GIVE to 513-717-7373. If you have access to our Breeze member system, you may click Give Now, or you can give online at firstuu.com. Just don't forget to choose Share the Plate from the drop-down menu. You can also write a check to First Unitarian Church of Cincinnati with CRRH on the memo line. Again, that's CRRH. And mail it to 536 Linton Street, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45219. Like Sabraya from today's story, the offering plate will now be passed. And if it's your first time, please let the collection plate pass you by. Your presence here is a gift enough for our church. worship team of many volunteers, and sometimes things fall through the cracks. I wondered about this myself, but the memo line, if you're giving to the plate collection, should be Shiloh Food Pantry. The CRRH was last month's recycling hub collection. So the memo line should say Shiloh Food Pantry. So we're closing our service today with some words by Deborah Smith. A prayer addressing all hungers. We are hungry. We are eating our daily bread and bowing our heads, and yet we are hungry. We are thanking the farmer and the farm worker, and yet we are hungry. We are speaking in spaces for food that is healthy, and still we are hungry. We are tiring of slogans that say, feed the children, and mean, feed the children leftovers. We are hungry for something that feeds more than our bodies. We are hungry for help. Help us, O you who apportion the funds, find in your hearts the child who you were, who you would share with a friend, free and friendly. Lead us not into meanness, for we are the hungry. We want the loaves and the fishes, the water and the wine of sweet justice for all. We are hungry. And now we extinguish the chalice with the words that are or will be on the screen. This is this flame, but not the light, warmth of community, the fire. These we carry in our hearts until we are together. So we have a few announcements.
Real quickly, there is a potluck after the service today. Even if you didn't bring a dish, I hope you will stay. And the next TAD talk is in a few weeks. It is about solar energy. Many of you were asking about that over the summer, so if you're interested, I hope you come.